So tomorrow Boris Johnson's going to try and push through his plans for an early election in December. How will you be voting?
I should be voting against it. This is not the time to be holding a general election. It's a time for cool heads and grown-up government. Parliament has indicated clearly that it is willing to support this deal. The Prime Minister said he wants the deal. These deadlines, 31st of October, are meaningless. The key thing now is to get the deal properly scrutinised in Parliament. That doesn't mean delaying it by months. It means giving Parliament a few days, a couple of weeks, to scrutinise the bill, amend it if necessary, and then we can make progress. And the government should stop making threats, stop throwing tantrums, and get on with the grown-up business of doing its business. Just because it can't get exactly what it wants doesn't mean that it should stop working.
You say it's a time for grown-up government. I assume you don't think that's what we have right now, then?
Well, this approach of, the government will say what it wants, and if it doesn't get it, it will simply stop. It won't engage with the reality, is not grown up. Parliament, the government doesn't have a majority in Parliament, and any government owes its legitimacy to Parliament, and it has to trim to the clearly expressed will of Parliament. Now, Parliament has made it clear that it will support the Prime Minister's deal. But of course, there will be amendments that will be moved during the course of the consideration of the bill. Some of them will simply improve Parliament's control of the next stage of the process. Some of them will be much more challenging for the government, and some of them the government would feel very strongly opposed to. But that's not a reason for not considering them.
Let's talk about the bill, because it's pretty clear that you want to get that withdrawal agreement bill back on the table, really scrutinise it. But would you vote for it and continue to vote for it as it currently stands?
No, I think that I voted for it at second reading. We now need a sensible timetable motion. So we have, let's say, 4 days to scrutinise it in the Commons in committee. By the way, if the government had pressed on with this last week, we could virtually have completed that process by now. I want to see parliamentary oversight of the next stage of negotiation strengthened. Let's be very clear, the so-called deal that Boris has presented represents a final solution only for 2% of the UK's population, the 2% that live in Northern Ireland. For the other 98%, we'll be left dangling, not knowing whether we're going to end up with a real deal with the European Union or whether we're going to effectively be in a no-deal situation at the end of 2020.